police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take to the streets to find the police, no justice.
What are we doing? Black lives are under attack. Stand up, fight back. What are we doing?
No peace.
What do you do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do you do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do you do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do when black lives are under attack?
Stand up, fight back.
Justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
Defund us!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
Defund us!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
Justice!
No peace.
Defund us!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
No justice!
No peace.
Defund the police! No justice!
No peace.
Defund the police! No justice! No peace! Defund the police! Alright, if you hear me say alright. I said if you hear me say alright. Say alright. Say okay. Everybody, if you hear me say alright. Say okay. Say fuck the police.
Fuck the police.
Say defund the police.
Defund the police.
Say no justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
I remember like this one, say no justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police.
No justice.
No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice.
No peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. Hey. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. Hey. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. Hey. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. Hey. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice. No peace. Take it to the streets and
Take it to the streets to fight the police.
Democracy looks like. This is what democracy. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what America looks like. Hey, JT.
The system that kept us divided, not going to have us divided no more. We're not divided. We're showing up for each other every single time. Promise you. Every single time we out here. Who's streets? Our streets! Who's streets? Our streets! Who's streets? Our streets! Who's streets? Our streets! These are our streets. When we coming to take our streets back, these are our streets. These streets belong to the people. And we're not going to be pushed around by law first. We're not going to be pushed around by ICE. We're not going to have no kids in detention center. It's over. We're not going for that. And we're here standing here together in solidarity with each other in peace, love, unity, harmony, and justice. Please believe. Please believe. Our street!
that.
Yeah, somebody's key is missing. We're not having it. The police do not own our streets. These streets are these. We're not having it. The police are not taking over. We do not need a police presence in our community. Whose streets are these?
All streets!
Whose streets?
All streets!
Whose streets?
All streets!
Hold the cars.
Hold the cars!
Hold the cars then.
Hold the cars!
Hold the cars then.
Hold the cars!
Hold the cars.
Hold the cars!
Hold the cars then.
Hold the cars!
Whose streets?
All streets!
Whose streets?
All streets!
We don't need no police presence. We don't need nobody to police us. Get you a security. Stop calling us. We don't need you to call the cops on us for your personal security. We don't pay taxes for that. These are our streets. Hold the cars.
Hold the cars!
Hold the cars.
Hold the cars!
Hold the cars.
Hold the cars!
Pause the cars.
Hold the cars!
Move the agenda. Pause the cars.
Hold the cars!
Pause the cars.
Hold the cars!
Pause the cars.
Hold the cars!
Hey.
Black Lives Matter! Black trans 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 lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
If you feel it, progress is healing the wound that the blow made, and they haven't even pulled the knife out, much less heal the wound. We try to heal, but each time there's a hashtag, each time there's a new, that knife gets pushed back even further. Why we want to defund the police. That's why we fight. That's why we need social workers deal with mentally ill people. They deal with people on drugs. They don't shoot people. They don't kill people. They're held to a higher standard than our police are. And why is that? Why is a police officer employed 1 month after a BLM post, but Breonna Taylor's murderers are still in employment and not arrested? There's an issue with our system. We've seen this throughout history. America's chronicles of black pain. We saw it with slavery. 400 years of slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, redlining. 400 years of trauma doesn't get rid of in one generation. We're still feeling that generation trauma today. And that's why we fight, because it is in our DNA. All black lives matter. Trans black lives, LGBTQ black lives, educated, uneducated, incarcerated. Every black life matters, and that's why we are fighting today. Defund the police. Awesome. Give it up for Brianna. Thank you, Brianna. And what we're going to do is defund the police. Defund the police. Defund the police.
Defund the police!
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 Pause the car.
Pause the car!
Pause the car.
Pause the car!
How we going to defund the police? Pause the car.
Pause the car!
Pause the car.
Pause the car!
That time jump coming to get on our back. We want that police on this. Pause the car. Pause the car.
No justice, no peace. Let's go streets.
your community looks like. You can't stop, you gotta keep going, baby.
Black Lives Matter!
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 No justice!
No peace!
No sex to the streets to fuck the police!
No justice! No peace! Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice! Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice! Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice! No peace, hey! Fuck the police, no justice! Hey, take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice! Take it to the streets and fuck the police, no justice! Take it to the streets, police, no peace! Take it to the streets, fuck the police, hey! Come on. Check it out, baby. What you say, baby? Come on. What you say? No justice! No peace! Say it with me now! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! I want to thank everyone for being here, for taking time out of your day. It's a beautiful day to be out here protesting, especially because it is within our rights. That's something we need to remind people, that we have the right to freedom of speech and to protest whatever we want. So I'm glad that you're out here, and I know that you're probably going to face some ignorant people, and God bless them, and I hope they have a good life, but we know that we're on the right side of history, and we're on the right side of history. And for us, black and brown people, we have built this country and fed this country. And if we need to, we take this country back. So that's what we're doing. We're taking this country back. We have other speakers, but we also want to make it open to anyone that has anything that they want to say. Even if you have poetry, a rap, a song, anything, we just want to make this open to the community, and you guys can share anything that you want. And in a little bit, we'll be having a singer, which I'm very glad to have here and to be showing the support. So just keep chatting, and make sure you drink water. Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter! Our city!
The police, no justice. Take it to the streets, no justice. Take it to the streets, no justice. Let me say that here. Keep fighting the good fight, man. Keep it up, alright?
So yeah, there's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop.
Say what?
There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people won't stop. Let's go. If you wanted to make a sign for us to walk with, sorry, I can't speak. If you wanted to make a sign for when we start to walk, there's some poster boards, I think there's markers over there. And you can make your own sign if that's something that you wish to do. If you don't want to hold anything, that's fine, but if you're up to it, we have some free signs over there. Black Lives Matter! 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 All lives don't matter until all lives don't matter until all lives can't 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 matter until. Black Lives Matter! 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 So if I can have everyone please, I'm going to have a very talented friend of mine sing. His name is Carlton, and I would like for him to introduce himself and all his amazingness.
Thank you so much, Ms. Graham, for inviting me and being honored in your absence. I've been asked to be here in the Legal National Anthem, so we're going to be here. open. Let us march on to victory as a built in the days when hope and born have died, yet we will still be. Come not a weary heart, come to the place for which our feet have sighed. Still now we stand at last, where the white flame of our bright star is cast. Out of our weariness, God of our silences, thou who has brought us thus far. Into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Bless our feet stray from the places of God where we love thee. Bless our hearts, drunk with the wine of the Lord, will forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand may we forever stand. True to our God, true to our name, do you pray?
It looks like we're going to be pretty busy here on out. We're working on walls, changing it all, the so we're going to need people to step up to the plate. We want to organize the organizers and have everybody working together in our community. We're not but we're trying to make a change. Monterey County, Monterey County. We're here to let Monterey County know that there's a problem in Monterey County. Every one of our cities have a problem in Monterey County. And we need to make it known. We're not here for sin. We're not here for games. We're here to let them know who are that we are not backing down. We want change and we want change now. I just want to share that some of the leaders are here from our community history one, and that's Asia, and that a great helper. Thank you, KJ, for all the work that you've done, everything that you've been doing for us. Thank you very much. And we she stands up and she steps up to the plate. So I'm glad you people are here, and we're going to keep this going. We got Parker here, he's our media man. And so we're here, we're in the house, and we're here to say, defund the police! Defund the police! Defund the police! Hey all, can you hear me? My name's Riley Skinner. I'm here. I welcome you to the
We are operating off the backs of all the protesters coming out, and we can every single one of you matters in all this. And we're predominantly a white group. We're following the lead of BLM, local activists, marginalized, trans lives, all of these groups. We're working to defund the police. We're working with 831, Reinvest 831, all these other groups that have been trying to do this kind of work for 4 years. We're teaming up with them, following their lead, and we can't do it without all of you. If you want to get involved, please contact me, Riley Skinner. You can email us at communitybeforecops@gmail.com. We meet a lot. We're doing a lot of work all across the county, and we are a grassroots movement. This is all a grassroots movement. It's very decentralized. It's very organized on the theory that fucking Black Lives Matter. I love you all. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter. 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 I hit the line. Black Lives Matter. 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 Look at there, Brian and Floyd are bringing us some Slurpees from 7-Eleven. Check that out, y'all. Give it up for them. They came all the way down from San Jose. Give it up for them. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. There's no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy
Show me what democracy looks like. Sam. Show me what America looks like. 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 We got to take this cause the cloud all over the country. So we need to take, how do we get rid of the police? We cause the cloud. We're not just talking about getting rid of the police. We're talking about taking direct action. And we know to take direct action, we have to stop calling the police for petty little stuff. We're calling the police our neighbors.
That's just so they can have the appearance of like much more.
Teach people how to do it, how to call somebody else instead of calling the police. Defund the police!
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 But how do we pause the car?
cause, right? How do we defund the police, right? What do? We have to teach everybody step by step, and we're going to teach our community a new kind of way. So are you with me? Yeah! We're going to teach our community members, our neighbors, and everybody. You know when people call the cops on me, I answer the cop when I want to through the door, when I want to placate the cop, or when I want to patronize the cop. I say hello, and they'll say the cops was called, the neighbor said this, the neighbor said that, and I say okay. And then they'll say, well, can we talk to you? Can you open the door? I said, no. They say, well, can you open the door so I can see what's behind the door? I said, well, you shouldn't be in my yard. I didn't call you. You don't have a warrant. There's no reason for you to be there. No, we want you to open the door, ma'am. The last time they came to my house about a year ago, they said, we want you to open the door because we don't know if you have a gun behind it or not. I said, well, I'm going to walk away from my door, and you're going to walk away from my door. You're going to leave because I'm not opening my door for you. But we got to teach people all over the country how to pause the call and how to not call the cops so that it will save black lives. It will save lives. If we pause the calls, it'll save every kind of life all over the country. But we have to pause the calls. It's important that we pause the calls today. And I want everybody to leave here and go home and put the hashtag pause the calls up on their Facebook right now. When they leave here, put that up. If you got your phones, take your phones out now and put it up. But we're going to pause the call. They need to understand what it means to pause the call. They need to understand what we're talking about when we say pause the call. They want to have a problem with defunding the police and act like it's equal to abolishing the police, even though that's what I'm for too. But if they want to have a problem with that, guess what? We want them to pause the call. Stop using the police for every little thing. The police is not your personal bodyguard. We do not pay taxes for them to be your personal bodyguard. We do not pay taxes. Our tax dollars do not go for them to be your security. Hire a security at your business. Stop calling the cops for every little thing. Hire a security. We need you to stop calling the cops on all our children, all our black people, on people everywhere. Stop calling the cops. It's important that you understand to pause the calls. If you don't know now, we're going to teach you. That's what we're going to do. We're going to teach you. We was at Googie Grill yesterday. We let that lady know we been busy. She faked on us for 2 weeks. She didn't show up for our appointment. We tried to talk about it. We said, guess what we're going to do? We're going to blast you all over this country if you don't have a conversation with us. You need to understand calling the cops on black folks is violent. So we're here to say, pause the calls everywhere. George Floyd will be here today if it wasn't for $20 and somebody decided to call the cops. Is it worth a life? No. It's not worth our life. It's not worth your life. It's time to pause the calls. Floor.
Yeah, give it up for him. She's going off today. Hey guys, how y'all feeling? One more time, how y'all feeling? Let's try this one. What do we want? What do we want it? And then, we definitely need to defund the police and give it to the community. You know, for example, mental health calls. Those should not be handled by people with armed guns. Yeah, a gun. Yeah. Those should be handled by mental health specialists that, could get funding if we take some of that funding from the police. For example, also, yesterday we did go to Googie Grill, and then I saw that happen. This woman is very powerful right here. She handled that. She went in there and they got what they wanted. And that's what we're here for, because we're trying to get what we want, and that means defunding the police, because if that's going to save lives, we're here because of George Floyd. Shout out to George Floyd, opened the way for this movement. And he was a victim of somebody calling the cops. Another 10. That's actually San Francisco, the Karen Act, correct? San Francisco is up, but they do have a black woman mayor though, in case you guys don't know. She is on top of it. And we all need to follow by their example, to be honest, because they're doing it over there in San Francisco. But yeah, they defunded the police. They already did everything I just talked about. So if we can get our communities to do the same thing San Francisco's doing, we're going to get real change. And it's happening right before our eyes. So thank you guys for coming out here today. You guys ready to march so we can get moving? Hey. We're putting into the law, and we're putting into legislation. And we're changing the law so that they will look at pause the calls all over the country. We're changing the law, and the Karen Act is one thing. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're going with our policies that we're putting in place and with the Karen law. So we need you all to remember
in order to save black lives, in order to save anybody's life, we need to pause the cause. And that is so important today to remember. So when you go home, please, everybody everywhere, you should be following that notion. They want to play with you about defund the police, but follow the notion to pause the cause. Because if we pause the cause, we won't need to defund the police. Won't be no police. Know that? Yeah. Ryan, y'all.
I think it's very important to pay attention to the policies in your city, to pay attention to the policies in your county. So since the murder of George Floyd, right? These are the things that I've done. With my camera, I've got out. I followed every different protest: San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland. I've been showing everybody what's going on, how the protests are peaceful, how we are peaceful people. We're just coming here to unite and to get into the system and try to change these laws and change these regulations. So, how she said, follow the example of San Francisco. If you look at San Francisco, Marilyn Breed is an African-American woman, right? So she's standing up for her people and making sure that, you know, her was it her brother-in-law or cousin? One of her family members was murdered by the police. So not only does the George Floyd situation touch her on her personal front, but as an African-American woman, she's explaining to you guys, hey, like, I'm not exempt from this. As the mayor of San Francisco, I am not exempt from my family being killed by the police. So we as people got to come together, make sure we get into these meetings, into our county meetings, into our city meetings, make sure we're touching bases with all of the members of, I guess they want to show out because we're like standing up, right? It's always like somebody wants to show out when we're actually like trying to educate people. But make sure you get into the city meetings, make sure you get into the county meetings, make sure you know what's going on in your local front, make sure you're talking to your city council members, your mayor, your Congress members up in Sacramento, and make sure you're doing whatever you can do to be a part of change, because they will listen to us if we all speak up together. And these are things that I've learned since I've been protesting and I've linked up with all the protesters, is that if we speak together in numbers, if we stop worrying about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, if we stop worrying about football, NFL, and these movies and stuff, and we worry about what's really going on in our community, and we actually start spreading word what's going on in our community, and we start complaining about the things that are happening in our community, and we actually get in and try to get the cities and the counties to move money from places that they're being wasted, like our police force in San Jose, they will do it. But if we just focus on the stuff that is irrelevant, then we're going to talk about irrelevant stuff. So we got to continue to keep talking about and working at defunding the police and bringing our communities together, and our lives matter as African American people, as Latin people. We have to come together and keep marching in solidarity, keep biting at our local politicians, and know who are the right politicians when it's time to vote. Make sure you're ready to vote. Make sure you know all the propositions and the yeses and nos that you need to put down. So that's it. That's all I want to say. Make sure you vote, and make sure you get into these local Zoom meetings that you can get into and tell them how you feel. Stop being silent. Yeah, vote for affirmative action. Vote for affirmative action. Make sure you get these kids 17 years old being able to vote. Make sure you vote that these 17-year-olds can start voting. And make sure you vote for to make sure that the people who are in jail or on parole can vote. We need everybody to vote. 17-year-olds need to be able to vote. They can make the right judgmental decision, especially if we're teaching them how to vote and what they need to vote on. If they're 17 and it's an upcoming election when they're 18, they need to be able to vote. And people on parole need to be able to vote. So make sure you vote for ACA 5, ACA 6, and make sure you gotta vote. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Voting is everything.
Oh, thank you, Brian. He's so right. I raised 9 kids and I have all of them voting. That's very important. We need to change legislation along with voting, and we also need to stand up. We need to march. We need to fight, and we need to speak up. We don't need to be closed mouths. And we do have somebody here that is running for city council to make a change in the city of Seaside. And that is Vanessa Robinson. So those that live in Seaside, please vote for Vanessa Robinson. Because she's standing up for change in our community. And that's what we need. People standing up for change. People making a difference in the community. People showing us that they care about more than just the top dogs in the community or the top folks that are prominent in the community. You got to care about everybody in the community. It's everybody or nobody. It's all of us or none of us. It's time to care about everybody. So it's time for all of us to understand what that means to stand up and speak up and to vote different people in. You know, I hate to say it, the mayor here in this city is gone and he passed away, but we have some other people that are running for office. I believe Wes White is running for mayor in this city. And I believe that if we don't, and he's always been for the underdogs and helping the homeless people. Wes is my cameraman everywhere I go, everything I do. And I want you guys to understand that Wes always there for the community. Always there for the community. So let's stop trying to get people out the park that got money or that got popularity. Let's get some people that we can bring popularity to. And we can make them somebody for us that is standing up for us. Let's do that. We can take somebody from just off from anywhere and make them somebody and push them up to do something. We can do that as the people. Who has the power? The people have the power. We have so much power that we're not even using. Today, after George Floyd has passed away in May, we want to make sure we're using our power. We want to make sure that all the killing that the cops are doing, they use their power. We're going to make sure that we use so much power that we won't need the police. They won't need to show up with a gun. Why do we need a police presence with a gun to change anything? They always come after the fact, and most of the time it's revenge that's happening anyway. People are just taking revenge. It has nothing to do with you being a criminal or him catching the criminal. They got to have the community to help them catch the criminal. And what is a criminal today? Everybody's criminal. I'm a criminal because of the color of my skin. Everybody's a criminal. You're the criminal because of the color of your skin. Only people that ain't no criminal are white folks. I can walk down with my white buddies and they get totally treated totally different from me. So what is a criminal? They criminalize the poor people. They criminalize the black people. What is a criminal? What is a criminal? Just think about that. Why do we have so many calls to the cops? In Monterey, in Seaside, the calls to the police have been reduced 30% this year. So we can keep reducing the calls to the police by pausing the calls. How about that? Pause the calls. Now now we need to go back to our homes and our respective places and find out why is there so many calls to the police anyway? Are they being called because of some real crime being done? Why is there so many calls to the police? Are they being called because somebody got mad at their neighbor and they choked up alive? Why are there so many calls to the police? Let's pause the calls. Let's reduce crime in our area. Let's talk among each other. Let's get along. Let's be community members. Let's get to know our neighbors. And let's stop calling the police. It's time to stop calling the police. Thanks to PG people, we have a generator. Hello? I want to give a shout out to PG, and I also want to give a shout out to the grill, the lady that's at the grill in PG. Please go by and support her. She gave us a $200 donation to get a generator, and people in PG raised money to get a generator, and we're so proud. We have a brand new generator to help blast some noise, make some noise up in the city when we go down the streets. Now Monterey County, we have a generator and we have some speakers. And he said you can just get a wagon if you don't get a bike. So guess what? We got a wagon today, folks, and we're gonna roll down this street with our speakers and let them know, hey, we're gonna make some noise up in here and let them know we're here and we need for you to pause the cars. Black Lives Matter. Pause the cars to save lives. Pause the cars to save black lives. Pause the cars everywhere. Okay, thank you, people.
Black lives matter. 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 Black lives matter.
Say his No justice. 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 Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets, defend the police. No justice. Take it to the streets. 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 Defend the police. No justice. Take it to the streets. 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 Defend the police. No justice. Okay. No peace. Hey. These racist cops have got to go. 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 Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. 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 Black trans 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 lives matter. Alright, we'll make a U-turn right here. Head on the other side.
Everybody, I want to say hold hands to COVID.
Give her his truck maybe and then go.
slow down a little bit.
Pause the call.
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 Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. What democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Say his name. Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name. Say his name.
George Floyd.
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 Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor. Breonna
The police, no justice, no peace.
Take it to the streets to find the police.
No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace.
Take it to the streets to find the police.
No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police. No justice, no peace. Hold on. These racist times have got to go. Hey, hey. Hold on. These racist times have got to go. Hey, hey. Hold on. These racist times have got to go. Hey, hey. Hold on. These racist times have got to go. Hey, hey. Hold on. These racist times cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. Hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. These racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey, oh, oh. Racist cops have got to go. Who lives matter? Black lives matter. 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 And the people united will never be divided. 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 The people 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 will never be divided. United will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. Take it to the streets, the first police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets, the first police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets, the first police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets, the first police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets, the first police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets, the first police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Take it to the streets to find the police, no justice, no peace. Justice!
because she had just texted me a picture in the whole shop that she works for all got Black Lives Matter aprons to work with. So she sent it to me and then she passed by. We love God's work. Hey everybody! Black Lives Matter! Cause the cause! Defund the police! Who's fired up? Alright. Well, what I want to share with you guys is some stuff that I put on Facebook. Who's ever my friend on Facebook, they probably seen this post. And I got a few controversial rebuttals about it. But I want to share it with you guys because this is facts. So what I put on my Facebook post was, dear human beings, let's talk truth and heal. Truth is, white men built America on hate with a greedy, animalistic mindset, without empathy or concern for anyone but themselves. Even white women were treated horribly by white men. However, white women also contributed to much of the hate towards black people, causing the deaths of many lives. For generations, blacks were treated worse than animals. Black women and children were raped, beaten, killed, and separated from their immediate families, their native names, languages, and spiritual practices. Our black men were beaten, murdered, and emasculated. Some were forced to be Mandingo fighters, and they had to fight other black men to the death. Hence the birthplace of black-on-black crime. Some were forced to rape black women in what was called breeding farms to produce more slaves. Blacks invented all the tools, considering they did all the work, and they made labor easier for them, but they were never given credit for inventing. As blacks today, as we live today in 2020 in America, we are still enslaved by white America through gentrification, redlining, white supremacy, systemic racism, police brutality and murder, and through the education system, through the healthcare system. There are two Americas, white America and black America. Until white America accepts its role in the foundation of hate that America was built on and open up to the black American experience, there will be no peace in America. And that is not a threat, that's only a fact. To have a white man who has been elected this country's president, whose slogan is "Make America Great Again," is looking from the lenses of a white man who laid this country's foundation on hate with slavery and murder and racism. And that's what he and his supporters consider to be a great America. However, that means to black America that no matter how much we have been able to overcome as a people, there is still a part of this country who still wants us to go back to being less than dogs. That is the reality of America that so many human beings need to accept. That is real life today, 2020 in America. The so-called land of the free. We are all human beings, no matter what shade of skin we have, and death is inevitable for each one of us. Love is a natural emotion. Hate is a programmed emotion. It is my prayer that the hearts of the evil find love and compassion and turn from their wicked ways. I pray that those who empathize with the black experience will teach their white families how to love and empathize. I pray that the boundaries that are separating us soon become the healing bridges to bring all of God's beautiful creation together. God loves all of us, or we would not exist. Let's love each other like God loves us. And let's accept reality and heal and grow. Now, thank you. That was my post on Facebook. Of course, I caught some backlash from others who classified the BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement, to be a hate group, as if they classify us with KKK, where you can't even compare the two, because we are only telling America that we matter. KKK they're trying to we're not trying to extinguish a race of people, a color of people. We're just letting them know that we matter. And we're not looking for revenge. We're not looking to give back what we felt. We're just saying, hey, stop what you're doing, and we matter too. That's all. That's all we're saying. And sometimes, and it's like we're being met with hateful retaliation, which is unnecessary, and it shows where the hate is. But with this discussion I had to explain to my brother that unfortunately, because the foundation was built on hate, that there are some white people today that don't understand the black experience because they have not experienced it. And they are under the same program that we are under. And they're being fed a fictitious story of the black experience. So most white people, their only knowledge of us is what they receive from the media, what they see in movies, what they see. A lot of white people don't take the time to get to know black people. So that's where we need to I know it seems like I know a lot of us are tired and we're angry, but we also need to empathize with their perspective as well, because some of them just don't know any better. So we have to be patient too. I know it's hard to be patient with who we consider to be the oppressor, but we have to let them know, like, you only feel this way because you were programmed this way. So let me tell you this. If you love God, if you know that you're a child of God, there's no way that you cannot empathize with our experience. So you can pull them back down to the reality like that from the heart. Because there's no way that you can love God and not love all of God's creation. So that's how you can reach the heart and mind of those who were programmed the wrong way. And all I'm saying is, for my people, is even though we're angry, even though we're tired, even though we're fed up, we have to be the example for those who don't know any better. And we have to have those uncomfortable conversations. We can't stop it and just say, okay, you're this and I'm that, because we become just like the oppressor when we do that. You know, we can't label because we don't want to be labeled. So we have to teach too. Just like we're relearning, they have to relearn too. It's a learning and a healing process for all of us. And of course, I'm a fighter, so I'm never saying back down. Don't back down at all. Be tough enough to have those uncomfortable conversations, enough to teach and not just retaliate, not just get angry, not just lash out, but to teach, to say, I'm sorry that you're ignorant to the black experience, but let me explain it to you. And that's all I'm saying is, just be open to those uncomfortable conversations, be open to teaching and reprogramming, because we're going up against a system who's had 400 years to program people. So it's going to take some time. We have to be patient.
That's why we have to stay consistent. We have to keep coming out. We have to keep doing this. We have to keep marching. We have to keep protesting. We have to keep telling them. We have to keep teaching. Because then they're going to realize, oh, there's really a problem. There must really be a problem. Maybe we need to listen. Maybe we need to hear what they're saying. And I was just telling this young lady, it's sad that I come to so many of these events and I see how we're sitting here, it's a handful of us. But there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that pass by us, and this part of the reality doesn't even resonate with them. Stockholm Syndrome. Anybody heard of that? So that's what a lot of our people are suffering from. They're comfortable with the devil that they know. They're afraid. So let's create a path for them to come out of this. So let's keep fighting. Let's keep coming out. Let's keep supporting the cause. Black Lives Matter.
Nice and fresh. So next I'm going to introduce January, who is a phenomenal black woman who is just one of the best speakers we've had. So I just want to thank her and give all my love to her because she is someone that is a role model to me and that I hope to become even close to the type of person that you are, and just God bless you, and here's January. Power to the people. I just want to thank my little sis Kenya for the invite today and Marion for helping put this on. You know, originally I had said that I wasn't going to do any more of these protests because I'm tired. And I think today is a wonderful day to arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Just the fact that we're having this right here on what used to be called Confederate Corner. Go ahead and research it. This is real. South Salinas was known as Confederate Corner. Now we're having a Black Lives Matter. Okay. Yes, do your research. We're having a Black Lives Matter protest right here in what used to be called Confederate Corner.
They can't hear you in the back.
Oh,
Right, somebody turn the speaker, one of them.
Arrest the cops
There we go.
that murdered Breonna Taylor. We good? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, one toward the street still.
Put one over here so that people can hear her in the street.
Please.
Okay. 400 years. And we are still out here debating if our black lives really matter. Almost like we're debating the chicken sandwiches, but we're actual people. Black people. Beautiful black people. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. In the words of Angela Davis, I am no longer accepting things that I cannot change, but I've changed the things that I can accept. Enough is enough. We will no longer accept racism, lack of support in our schools, disrespect, unfair treatment in the workplace, police brutality, and injustice against our beautiful black people. We all need to take a stand. We need to stop what we're doing and do a heart check. We need to do a heart check and actually think about the last time that we've seen injustice, that we've seen racism, and sat back and said nothing. Sat back and done nothing. It's time to take a stand. It's time to start calling it out each and every time. If we don't call it out, they're never going to take us serious. They're never going to take us serious if we don't call it out each and every time. If you see something, do something. Don't just sit there because it's become normal, the unfair treatment of our black people. It's time to stop petty racism.
You go right back to
Petty hate is a game. This is our lives that we're talking about. Listen, we are working. We are brown-skinned girls. We are brown-skinned boys.
There we go.
Listen, we are worthy. Do you hear me? We are worthy. We are smart. We are educated. We are strong. We are fearless. We are beautiful. We will accept nothing but the best in our lives. Dr. Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Give it up for her, January, one more time.
So next, we're gonna have a fellow I know very well, a fire, a dragon, royalty. He's an activist in our community and for the world, a human activist who's making a change not only in our county, but in the state. So it is my pleasure to welcome Nathaniel Sawyer.
Thank you, King, and thank you, Miriam, and everybody, what you guys are doing. I saw this on Facebook Live. I just came from Greenfield with a couple of you guys earlier this morning. Had to do some family things. I'm like, man, I gotta get out there. I gotta get back out there. When I first moved here to Monterey, California, it was April 2019, and I was a tornado moving through here. I saw the divisiveness of the communities not working together. I'm old school. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama originally, but I haven't been there in a long time. I've been fighting human trafficking in overseas in Costa Rica, Colombia, Philippines, Ecuador. I fight human trafficking and child labor here in Monterey County as a coordinator for YWCA. And I also am not an outsider to law enforcement. See, my mom's side is part of the NAACP. Well, she used to be. She's kind of retired and likes to, just self-care right now because she had her third stroke not too long ago. And my family side, they're part of like the Black Panther, movement back in the day. Kind of anti-white people, no offense. It's just who they, it is what it is on their side. But I learned from both of those people, these family members, And I was the first in my family to graduate high school, so I knew education would be the key to defeating systemic racism, to beating these old school white people that don't want to let their power go. I knew that whatever I would learn wouldn't be in Alabama anymore. I can take what I learned there and go and move to other places. So I've been in Missouri and all over around the United States, listening, learning, doing the same thing I do here. But in every community, I'm one of those guys that I'm a traveling hobo. Wherever I lay my head is my home. And so, from 14 until 18, let me roll back a little bit. I'm telling you this because it's important to know a little bit about me, so you know why I do what I do. My uncles and them were in and out of prison, right? Never really got any real education. And and the first time I saw a bounty hunter come to my house and tackle my uncle, beat him down over some marijuana charges, right? Back in the day when marijuana wasn't legal, well, in Alabama it's still not legal, cannabis is illegal. I started to think, okay, how can I want to learn, why do they get to do what they do? Why do they have the power that they have? And one of my friends said, Nate, if you want to beat the system, you got to infiltrate the system sometimes. So I infiltrated, and from 14 to 18, I was trained. When you're a young black boy, they don't treat you as a threat. I started learning when I got older that all of a sudden I was turned into a threat. So 14 to 18, I trained from CEA, trained with the CEA, CIA, FBI, local, state, and federal law enforcement officers. Learned all their trades, the tricks. And you want to know something that they teach law enforcement officers? They teach them just like military personnel. They teach them how to shoot. They teach them how to kill. If you treat them as a threat, they grab their gun first and they'll talk to you. But as soon as you make one move, they shoot you. That's paperwork. That's it. They don't get in trouble. All they do is put the paperwork in. They got their unions to protect them. I learned what I learned from them. I went to college. First in my family go to college, obviously from high school. And I ended up studying criminal justice in Spanish with a concentration in psychology. Learned all about the criminal justice system. Because you can't really talk about the criminal justice system. You can't really tackle the criminal justice system if you don't know about it, right? You do get a lawyer to fight your stuff in court, but I don't need all that. I know all about my law. I know about my constitutional rights and all this other stuff. I was a corrections officer for 3.5 years. I got to see inside the criminal justice system as a corrections officer. First African American to be hired over there in Bolivar, Missouri, Polk County Sheriff's Office. So just imagine having a 4-hour interview asking if you can handle being called names, nigger, and all these other names, not by inmates, by possibly law enforcement officers. 3 law enforcement officers while I was there for 3.5 years got fired because they treated me, discriminated against me, and all these other things. Caught on tape and all this other stuff. One officer, really heavy set, had a blowtorch, literally shot fire as I was coming around the corner. I was 19 at the time. The next officer said, Nate, why do you people act so superstitious? He got let go later on. Another one brought a black man into the jail and said, Nate, will you be able to handle booking him in since you're African American and part of the NAACP? I've been part of the NAACP since I was 2013. It wasn't just African Americans I got to see get treated wrong, but also Latinx, people who wear hijabs, all these things. And I would always be the one calling the judge, pretty much annoying them, saying, hey, I'm seeing this, X, Y, and Z. I ended up getting burnt out in the criminal justice system fast. I could have easily been making, here in California, I don't know if you know this, but they make $85,000 to $120,000 a year as a law enforcement officer. Again, $85,000 to $120,000, after 4 years, $120,000 a year as a law enforcement officer. With no education. All you have to have is a GED or high school diploma. Where I come from, they'd rather see me push a broom, sweep, mop, or flip burgers before they see me as a supervisor, see me as someone that's doing something bigger than what I'm doing today. It took me a long time to get to where I am today. I've always had that mentality where I had to push myself to do more. And now I'm getting at my master's degree, obviously, in Middlebury Institute of International Studies, where I study international policy and development, because I wanted to learn that not just the United States policies, but every country's policies, so I can understand where all my brothers and sisters and non-binary people are coming from all around the world. We talk about these things with defund the police, and I'm one of those people that relocate money to services because that gives more of a talking point. A lot of politicians have come to me lately and asked me for their endorsement, and it makes me wonder, why? Are you coming to me because I'm a big voice, have a lot of friends that are doing things, humanitarian things? Do you want change? Do you want to listen to what I got to say? Or do you just want me to back you? The only people I've supported or endorsed right now is Vanessa Robinson Salinas.
The only people who I've endorsed publicly is Vanessa Robinson, who's running for Salinas City Council, Tanisha Dunn, who's running for Seaside City Council. Those are the only people right now. I mean, if you're running for something, you need to let me know because you're out here and you're doing stuff. But I'm saying, like, no offense to all the other people that are running and doing stuff. I support you because you're fighting and doing something. But the only people I endorse right now, one, African Americans, because we're 12% of the United States population. Sorry, African Americans, because we are a minority of the minority. There's not a lot of African American men leaders out there anymore because, sadly, as you can see, what they try to do with the Disney Channel version of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all these other people that we cling on to because we don't have any other ones, they got shot down. We need more African American women out there. There's not a lot of us out there anymore. You see us rising now in the new generation. We see a lot of them that have fought for us as best as they could, but we need more. We need our new generation to stand up, and that's what we're doing. But they're going to try to destroy us, take us down, African American men and women. We always fight for our Latinx people, and we expect the same because I don't know if you notice, I'm being real right now. If without the Black Lives Matter movement, we wouldn't be talking about Vanessa. Without the Black Lives Matter movement, we wouldn't be talking about any other thing. It'll just be something that's in the newspaper or on Facebook today. We fight for LGBT community. We fight for all
And all I ask for, my brothers and sisters, are non-binary people to fight for us. Because when you fight for us, our victories become your victories. You may think that this is a small thing, but this is actually a big thing. You have social media, you have your phones. The reason George Floyd's death became a martyr is because of an iPhone. It became because one person decided to record. You have the power to change whatever you want to change. The Marina City Council Mayor, Bruce Delgado, how you doing, Bruce? He calls me every week asking me what his city needs. His council members call me. His people, mostly white people, call me. Sometimes, minus Audra, I'm the only African American person on the Marina City Council. Now, Tay's jumping on more and more now. But back in the day, we were the only ones just sitting on there listening to these boring conversations, and they weren't even really talking about us. I've jumped into some of the Seaside City Council meetings. It's the same thing. A lot of people talking about black and brown people, but they're not doing anything for black and brown people. Salinas, they have $58,000 in their police budget. And I talked to one of the Salinas City. I know my stuff. That's why I'm good at what I do. Salinas City Council people, they were only taking $300,000 out of their $58 million police budget. And you know where that $300,000 was going to come from? The school resource officers. And then you know how they were saying that they were going to get their schools to pay for their school resource officers. So we're going to take the money that we're already forcing our educational system to pay for. We're going to force our school system to pay more money into something they may not even need.
Defund the police! Defund the police!
You know what? People are like, Nate, do you care about defunding the police? And I'm like, I am a policy guy, so I'm always talking about relocating money. But I'm starting to get onto this defunding the police because they're not talking about anything else. Maybe we should defund the police until they do something we want. I don't see anyone talking about an Explorer program that would put the kids that grow up in the communities actually into maybe law enforcement jobs. I'm talking about African American Latinx kids that grow from the community. They should be. How about we have kids that are low income making $85,000 a year after they graduate high school? It's possible, right? We can have those kids that don't have a great GPA, aren't going to be going to college, but they can be trained. They already know their communities, and they get trained from the hopefully better law enforcement officers after we get through with them. And now you have the law enforcement officers are the people that you grew up with in your community. They're not someone that came from San Jose, Oakland. I'm just being real. Alabama, Georgia, Florida, wherever they come from, because I guarantee everybody knows how much money they make here in California, and they're gravitating on it. But there's no real community policing. There's no guardians. So I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. I stand on the shoulders of people that came before me, and I'll die for this cause. I'm only one man. People like to say my name like I'm this and that, but I'm only becoming great because of all of you, because of my brothers and sisters and non-binary people. Am I saying that right? Hey, I'm trying. Sam's teaching me every week. She's like Nate, you said this wrong, and I'm like, okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that. They them. Hell yeah, we know that. I know that one. I know that. I really do truly appreciate you, all of you, my white brothers and sisters as well, my allies, because your voices are stronger than ours. It really is. I have a white wife. I talk ridiculous. I talk radical about white people, but I have a white wife. You know why I talk radical about white people? Because I have a white wife, and I feel like I'm a black man that needs to make sure that I'm checking myself, because I know how comfortable I can get, and because I am moving up. And my white wife also has to check herself, because she's with a black man doesn't mean she doesn't have her own biases, her own unbiased racism. She grew up in a conservative household. Just because she has a black man doesn't mean that she doesn't have a lot to learn. She's learning stuff every day with me. So keep fighting my I want to say kings and queens, but I'm gonna say my royal revolutionaries. My royal revolutionaries. Keep fighting my royal revolutionaries. So we include everybody. Oh yeah, trans lives matter, LGBTQ community matters. Just making sure the social media knows that, because this isn't just African American, Latinx thing. We have a lot of people that we're fighting for today and tomorrow and the next day. This isn't a temporary thing. This is a movement. This isn't gonna stop until one, that orange clown is out of the White House. Two, we have systemic change, because after that orange clown is out of the White House, we have to fix all the shit that he's already done. All right, I gotta go because I know I'll talk like a preacher and I'm not a preacher. I'll start cussing and then I have an upside down cross and all this other stuff because I'm saying things that aren't preacher-like. All right, thank you, and I love you all.
Give it up for Nathaniel. He walked over here and said he had to go because he was hurting. Reminds me that I want people to know that we're getting ready to do a protest like 7:45 in the morning at the Roberts Lake in Seaside. Okay, and I need people to show up for the homeless people because we need to pause the cause. Stop calling the police. The police are getting ready to come there and clean out those people, and there's still shelter in place. They have no place to go, and we need to stand up as a community. I'm asking you all that can to show up that morning. About the cops are due to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I remember when they were trying to shut down Chinatown, exactly. And we were a human shield, and we blocked them. We locked arms, people everywhere. News was there, everything. We locked arms, and we stopped them from shutting it down. Seaside, Roberts Lake. When I was sleeping in my car several years ago, and this you guys will know it several years ago when I say that Mayor Smith was in office, I was sleeping in my car because it was hard to find housing for black people in the community. And let me tell you something, I was sleeping in my car with $25,000 in my pocket, not able to find housing. I wanted to buy a house and I couldn't do it. And I had money, but I couldn't get in housing. So a cop comes up to me, a Seaside cop, and the Seaside cop says to me, you're not supposed to sleep in your car between 10 at night and 6 in the morning. So I told the cop, really? And he said, yeah. So I thought I'm going to go to a black mayor in the city of Seaside. He's passed away now, but his name was Smith. And I said, the cop came to me and told me I can't sleep in my own car between hours. He said, no, you can't. And if you do, you will get a black man, right? You will get a this and that. But you can go to Roberts Lake, he told me. You can go to Roberts Lake. Right. So the mayors were sending people to Roberts Lake. Now the cops want to go shut it down. They've changed something in the city of Seaside. And we're going to stand up from them criminalizing the poor people. They sent everybody there. Now it's over there. People don't have no place to go. That's why we have to defund the police so we can have housing in our communities. It's important to defund the police and redirect funds. Defund the police does not mean it's not equal to abolish the police. We're not saying get rid of the police, even though I'm for that. We're not saying that, okay? We are saying defund the police and redirect them funds. So let's help the police by pausing the calls. And let's show up. If we don't call the police, there won't be no need for a police presence. Because they show up with guns and we show up empty-handed. And our lives are lost. So let's defund the police. That's very important. But if you can show up Monday morning, I don't even know what Monday's date is, but I just heard about this last night, and we already said we're going to send some flyers out, get some people out, but show up Monday morning with my girl, Kenya. Show up Monday morning so that we can get up there and say, pause the cause. We don't need the police in our community, terrorizing our community members, and terrorizing the poor people. Let's not criminalize the poor. That's why we need to defund the police. Defund the police.
We have 2 more people scheduled to speak, and then we'll have it open to anyone who wants to share anything. I know I had a couple of people who said they were wishing to share something. So I would like to introduce Vanessa Robinson. That's incredible biracial woman of color in Salinas doing her thing. So I'll let her introduce herself, and thank you for holding on.
Yay, I love you guys. You guys are too funny. I don't even talk about it when I go places, and then when here's Queen Tay, vote for Vanessa. I'm like, oh my god, that's right, I am running for something, right? Okay. I wanted to switch the conversation up today. Usually, I go on the history, right, of how we got here. As an oppressed people, oppressed color skin, right? We're criminalizing our own skin. But I want to shift the conversation because of just something I've been thinking about for a long time, and research that I did while I was in school, and just how we support kids and communities has led us right back to this. And it's another platform that we have right now is talking about women, right? So in having conversations surrounding how Black and brown women are treated in America, you start to look back at historically us being left out of a lot of movements, right? So the suffrage movement, white women and Black women fighting for the right to vote. White women got the right to vote. Black women had to wait, right? Then we look at the Me Too movement. Me Too movement, speaking out against sexual harassment, centered a lot of white women voices, dismissed a lot of brown and Black women's stories. And then we even look at the Black Lives Matter movement. I have to call that out too. That was organized around a male's death by 3 Black women. And since then, since 2012, countless amount of Black and brown women have been murdered without any protest. No one's in the street. There's no new organization or hashtag, right? We've almost had to hijack the Black Lives Matter movement to remind America that Black women are dying too. We also deal with issues in workplace discrimination. I know my Black and brown women know exactly what I'm talking about. That feeling that in order to gain a position of power in the workplace, you owe somebody something, right? You can't be sexy and smart and powerful and still deserve respect, right? So we talk about all these things. How do we fix this? So I wanted to read a piece of research for you that ironically ties into the work that I do as an educator for students. Research indicates that approximately 60% of Black children live in households headed by a single mother without their biological fathers, and these families are disproportionately poor. That is a loaded amount of research right there, right? What we quickly begin to realize is that there's no helping children and families without centering mothers in these solutions, right? The Black woman's experience is the anchor in most research and design when we're looking at how to solve public health issues, but we're completely forgotten when it comes to a national stage, protests, or mass outrage, right? We can see that we're blatantly forgotten and left behind in fields like public health, engineering, psychology, social welfare, public policy, nursing, education, film, medicine. It goes on and on. But today, it's staring everybody in the face with 2 names. I bet you all can say the names. Breonna Taylor and Vanessa Gillian, right? Her name is Breonna Taylor, right? Her name is Vanessa Gillian. These women are not data. They have lived experiences that cannot be quantified or represented by some linear regression of people deciding that we did something to cause our deaths, right? I know you've heard the rhetoric around what happened to Vanessa. It has to stop. So basically, I say this to say all of the above. We have to continue to center our women, and especially our women of color in our communities, if we want to solve anything. They are the bloodline of everything that we do. Queen Tay talks about the Eve gene. We all came from an African woman, right? There's research on it. It goes back and back. Everybody here can identify with having a mother or having some strong female figure in their lives that keeps the structure going. So I want to empower everybody here today, like I've been telling a lot of students and people when I'm talking, is you can be powerful, you can be courageous, you can be brave, you can be loud, you can be passionate, you can be political, you can be nurturing, you can be loving, you can be quiet, you can do whatever you want, and that you still deserve respect. Your life still matters. You can do it all and still own the rights to your reproductive organs, your body, and we can tell the man you are not going to put a woman in her place because her place is right here.
So I guess I'm the last to go due to the program.
So my name is Kenya Burton. I'm from East Side, Salinas. I just turned 20, so I guess it's a new century in our lives.
But one thing I want to touch on today is kind of what Vanessa had to say, that as women of color, it always feels like we're forgotten in history. And so one thing we need to remember is that historically, black women and men have been a part of every movement. But historically, no one has fought for them. We have been in every movement known to man, the women's suffrage, when it came to getting voter right, voter suppression, when it came to Caesar Chavez March and getting field workers their housing, and making sure that they had their ends meet. We have always been there. So it is important to recognize that. And without us, we wouldn't have this country. Without us, we wouldn't have the land we're on. And we also need to recognize the amount of natives in this country that are disproportionately losing their housing, being pushed off of their own land. And people do not realize that racism and history coexist. They always have. You can't have one without the other. And people are cherry picking history because it makes them uncomfortable. So I first wanted to share a quote that kind of sums up everything that we have been saying. And it says, "Accountability feels like an attack when you're not ready to acknowledge how your behavior harms others." And that is why when someone saw the sign pass by and said Trump 2020, their first argument is to bring up a man that has done nothing for us, that has done everything he can in his power to push us back. And that's the only retaliation they have, because they put their blind faith in him because he looks like them, sounds like them, does things that they like because they like being on top. So, instead of doing my usual piece, I decided to do one that I wrote in high school, and it's kind of a self-reflection of what I went through as a woman of color, and how nothing has really changed, and that's the whole momentum of the piece. The piece is called "The Way I Was Made." I am 1 in 4. Not 1 in 4 to rebel against my parents and dye my hair a crazy color, or 1 in 4 to be eaten by a shark. I am 1 in 4 under the age of 18 to be raised without a father. I'm also a woman, an African American, and a Mexican American. Basically, I am a tool, a worker, and cheap labor. These 3 things prohibit me from moving. I do not belong here. This line is close to you. You are not allowed inside. Know your place. Try next time. So what a time it is to be alive as different sides of the world string up their signs and claim what is best for the world. Leaving people like me to our whirlwind of thoughts, not knowing if we should even try to speak up. It's hard to belong in a world that does not want you. And even harder when it convinces you that you are nothing more than a statistic. Being black is I didn't mean to say it like that. I've always wanted a black friend. You're pretty for a black girl. You're taking things to heart, and you can't take a damn joke. Being human is not knowing how to decipher pain. The N-word flows from lips that have never stung with cuts of the humanity. These people say the word as if they have fought all their lives just to be heard. These people say the word as if they have looked at their skin and spit on it. They say it as if they have hated themselves for being born. As a child, the silly games we played on the playground held greater meaning. I was always running away. Thump, 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 hide and run. When they caught me, they shot me with their fake plastic guns and yelled, "You're dead." Cops and robbers or sharks and minnows do not fill me up with the same excitement anymore. I think of these childish games and realize I was the one always running faster and faster, too weak to keep going, but knowing if I stop, I'm done for. Faster and faster, the teenage African-American boy runs on the streets of his neighborhood. Faster and faster, I fall to the floor as the children point their fingers down at me and laugh. Faster and faster, just keep running. The boy falls to the floor, and unlike me, has a gun pointed to his head. My heart beats louder and louder as one of them kicks me in the stomach while the boy's heart stops. Everything around me seems to bleed black. At a young age, I started to wonder if I bled the same, wondering if I bleached my skin, the girls at school would finally accept me instead of shredding my self-confidence until I was nothing but a dismembered figure in a game of hangman. I once had a teacher that asked me what my family and I called each other. Were we black, colored, labeled as one of the many shades of the rainbow? Why did it have to be so complicated? The words left her small pale lips brutally choking me on the guillotine, my classmates watching as I took my last breath. Finally, falling into the oblivion I had seeked my entire life as I hang for the entertainment of others, I put on a show.
I smile as I watch people tarnish my culture and claim it as theirs. I laugh when they make jokes about my ancestors who fought just to be called people. And sometimes I make the same jokes too. Falling down this web of lies, web of tears, and I can hear myself screaming inside. Please don't try to stop me, I am on a roll. Maybe I should speak a little clearer, put more emphasis in my words. But even then, my words would still go unheard because in this society, my words mean nothing. I am on the wrong side of the spectrum, but on the right side of history, yet it could take years until I stop bleeding out on the concrete. My little sister doesn't like to wear her hair down. Says the kids at school say it's nappy and rough, so she wears it up, decorates it with a bow or two, and changes herself to reach their views. She cries in a shopping cart at Walmart because she says she doesn't feel pretty. I console her and tell her what she needs to hear, and I wonder if she could tell that my voice is shaking, that I just cannot come up with the correct words, with the correct punctuations, that my tongue feels heavy with lies as I watch history repeat itself in front of me. I empty myself in front of her, searching through the clutter for a band-aid to heal the wounds deeper than flesh. The same wounds that have left scars on my self-carved insecurities and false prodigies, ones that have made me unrecognizable when I look in the mirror. Oh my God, nothing has changed. So how can I say that things get better? That it won't hurt so much in the morning? Ignore them, you matter, I love you, I tell her, but in my head I pray to God to help her. The loneliness that was created inside me claws up to my chest, creepy towards my lips. There is no pain when it comes to loneliness, there is only emptiness. Not belonging in a world you thought was yours is the worst punishment. It's carrying a key that opens no doors. You're trapped within the realms of discrimination and bigotry until you discover words really are the best therapy. You're going to be okay, I tell her, and wonder if I'll ever be. Thank you. So, oh man, I'm still breathing after Kenya, okay? All right. Let's give it up for Kenya. One more time. Give it up to my mom right there, though. Yeah, her mom. Yeah. So this is a beautiful young lady, and the community needs to wrap their arms around her because she's coming up one of our leaders in the community, and we as the community need to be able to organize us so we can move together as one in this community, so we will be a force to reckon with. But this young lady is powerful. And you know, I was looking for somebody to speak, and Sam told me, well, Kenya, she bragged about her, so I was like, man, Kenya. So now you have her, okay? And you know she's been speaking at different events, but she is the bomb, and she just exploded. Have you all caught your breath? Have you caught your breath? But I got the mic to say this, okay? We want to wrap our arms around also Vanessa. We want to talk about her speech, talk about what she said. We want to center Vanessa. And let me hear you guys say, vote for Vanessa! 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 She is running for Salinas City Council, and we want to wrap our arms around her. She already stepped up to the plate. Yeah. And she talked about centering black women, centering women of color. Let's center around Vanessa. How about that?
My name is Sean. Can you hear me? I'm so humbled to be offered this microphone. I'm not going to speak and make notes. The 12.5%.
Point it towards your mouth.
The 12.5% of the black people and colored people of this country, much more than that now, are the reason that this country is great. It has nothing to do with people with blue eyes like myself, believe me. We dropped the ball a long time ago. And every time I see a person of color, I feel like I have to apologize from my soul. I don't know how it could have happened this way. But it did happen this way. It happened this way and will always happen this way. Unless people turn around and start to realize what has happened to themselves. You've got to look at your soul and go, people are so important. Everybody is so immensely important. And that's all I can say, really, is that we're all so important. I was so glad to see you guys trooping down to where I was collecting my recycling. And I thought, what a great moment. I can join in something that I've been watching on television from afar. I thought, John, you should drop these cans and bottles because they represent something that you really don't like at all anyway, which is money. And so I'm just so humbled. I'm so glad I could walk with you guys for a few blocks, say Black Lives Matter, because I have black son and I have black grandchildren.
Yeah, come on, John.
I was very fortunate. Back in the 1970, I married my Jamaican wife. I grew up in the West Indies. And he's coming to visit me in 3 weeks with my grandchildren. How about that? And this is the proudest moment of my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi. I just wrote a thing. I'm not planning on staying up here very long. I wasn't planning on speaking today. But my name is Riley. I'm here today on behalf of Community Before Cops. We are working to defund the police. Let me hear you say defund the police.
Defund the police.
We're working to invest in our community. Let me hear you say invest in our community.
Invest in our community.
We at Community Before Cops know that defunding the police isn't just about law enforcement. It's about the prison industrial system. It's about black unhoused lives. It's about black disabled lives. It's about black trans lives. It's about funding education for our children here in Salinas, in Seaside, in Watsonville, in South County. Whew, I'm nervous.
Doing great.
Why should the Carmel School District have more money than they know what to do with while students in South County don't even have PE classes? Monterey County is segregated, and it's time to reverse the redlining. It's time to take care of everyone because all lives won't matter until...
Black Lives Matter!
I love you all so much. Thank you. Also, thank you to Kenya and Vanessa and Nathan for leading on all this. This is amazing.
The strongest people show up in smaller numbers. Give a hand to you all for showing up. We don't need a whole lot of folks. We don't need a crowd. We just need a voice. We just need a strong movement in our community. We need a strong movement in our county. We need to change things. And we can do it with just 3%. We don't need a whole giant gang of people trailing behind us being heavyweight, holding us down. What we do need is we need some people in the crowd that mean business. We need some people in the crowd that want to change. We need some people in the crowd that'll keep showing up for change. We need some people in the crowd that'll make change happen and know how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, that's willing to learn the rights and teach other people their rights. And willing to make things happen the way it should happen. We're tired of accepting things. We're tired of letting things happen. How many people want to make things happen today? We're not going to wait on nothing to happen because we're not here. We don't keep coming to the marches. But what happens beyond the march? We make things happen. We have to show up to do that. And we have to defund the police because the police presence in our community has been overwhelming. Now, is there anybody here that does not believe in defunding the police? Because I have a question. Is there anybody here? Okay, is there anybody, can somebody pick this up? Is there anybody here that does not understand what defunding the police is about? Because I want to know, well, let me ask you. Anybody here that can tell me what the police has done for them? What has the police done for you? I can tell you. You want to come up here to the mic. I have 9 kids that I raised in the city of Seaside, and they're all grown. They're all grown, and I have not been able to call the cops as a service to me and my family. I have 16 grandkids now. 3 of them here just showed up, and 3 was already here. And I have not been able to use the city of Seaside Police Department or the Monterey County Police Department. Only time they showed up for our family is to harass us, abuse us, mistreat us, and to arrest us, escalate stuff, and then to release us. But they want to charge us with resisting arrest because they did something wrong. Okay? So, listen, all of you that's hung up on the police, it was a subliminal message sent to you after slave catchers were designed to catch black people. And then they designed us to harass us during the peaceful marches. Now when we have peaceful marches today, they will use the media to help harass us and lie on us, like they did on July the 3rd of this month when we had a march in Seaside. They didn't say the good, we were peaceful. They didn't say the good, they only talked about, the news only talked about us wanting to make a statement. And I haven't heard the news about what we did yesterday, but we picketed a place called Boogie Grill in Seaside yesterday because a lady called the cops on black people. But this is a nice lady, everybody tell me. I don't know her personally. This is a lady that did things for the city, everybody tell me. I don't know her personally. This is a lady that even her people that work for her say she's nice. But did you not know back in slavery there were some nice masters? Did you not know there were some masters that let some black folks in the White House and worked in the house? There were some nice folks back in the day. We don't want to deal with nice folks here. If you are dangerous and if you cause violence, or if you're willing to cause violence and turn your head, we want you to stop. That's why we say pause the cause. Pause the cause, don't call the cause. Calling the cause on black people is violent. I don't care how nice you are. I don't care how much you do for the city. I don't care how pretty your smile is. I don't care how many people like you. Don't call the cops on black people. Hear that message? I'm sending it loud and clear. Now I'm gonna let somebody else say something.
I'm the oldest. I have 5 younger brothers. 4 out of 5 of my brothers are in prison. I heard this, what's the term they call it, the prison complex? What is that? Prison industrial complex. The prison system pretty much takes care of large corporations with the, so basically they meet a quota. They look to find ways for mass incarceration. So it's not the faults of the youth for the time that they're getting. Like my brother has to do 85% of a 20-year sentence for aggravated assault. 20 years. 20 years. And he has to complete 85%. I mean, the sentences for black men or all men of color is way more excessive in comparison to the whites. So when you're talking about the prison industrial complex, it's just made to keep blacks enslaved, to keep people of color enslaved. So the police was never formed to protect black people. It was only formed to control, to murder, and to further enslave black people. And that's what they're still doing to this day. And separating families, tearing down the black family dynamic, taking away fathers, separating children from their parents. They're not doing anything to help us or protect us. We can't even call them for protection. When you're black, you have to worry about calling the police. If somebody breaks in your house, you don't even think to call the police. And the police think that, you know, when murders happen, when things happen, and they wonder, like, they say they can't solve the murders, black murders, because we don't want to talk to the police. Well, we're afraid to tell the police anything, because even if you talk to the police will go back and tell the people that you told on just for them to retaliate against you. It's scary. The police is scary for black people. They're not here to help us in any kind of way. So, defund the police, reallocate funds.
Thank you. Anybody else? Because this is we're at the end. This is the end. We're closing this out. But I just wanted to have an open space for people that have been harmed for the police, and please tell us what good the police have done you. Because there's a lot of people that have a notion and a message in their mind that the police should not be defunded and we should not send them funds to help with housing, programs, youth services, youth jobs in our city. We definitely need youth jobs in our city. We definitely need mental health programs in our city. We need to redirect those funds to the places that matter the most, and they do not matter with the police. They don't need all these funds. We don't need cops with guns to show up. We need people that can show up to help the people that are in trouble, that have a need or an issue. We need people to show up like that. We do not need a police presence with guns in our schools. This must stop, and we need to stand up for it and speak up against it, because it's only the ideal that we need the police around. Police only come after the fact, and they're mostly for revenge, and they don't solve problems most of the time. The problems are escalated when the police show up, and if it's a black family or a brown family. There's a young lady about a year or so ago, over a year ago, she lost her baby to CPS here in Salinas, California, and she was and when she lost her baby, the wind, y'all, when she lost her baby to CPS, she was trying to kill herself. The baby was just a couple of weeks old, and her mama was in Mexico, called the cops to help her daughter, and the cops came and killed her for herself. That's a shame, because she didn't really want to die. She was on the phone with her mom in Mexico. Latinx young lady. Listen, we got to stop calling the cops in Monterey County. And that's what I have to say. I want you all to understand how important it is to save lives and how important it is to protect one another. Don't use the police to do that, because they don't come to protect you. Usually they're going to arrest somebody when they leave. Thank you for showing up. Thank you, everybody. God bless.